Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to take the focus away a little bit from Celtic specifically to more just a football based video in general. A video that I've wanted to make for quite some time and just speak my thoughts and give my opinion on. And you can tell by the title of the video, today we are going to be talking about the money and transfer fees within football in the year 2017. The way for me it's just got out of hand and transfer fees are ruining the game. For me, just my opinion, it's just got ridiculous. It really has, and there's a few things have to be spoken about. How did it get to this? How did it manage to get to this state? How is Neymar going to PSG for £200 million? In my eyes, no man, no player is worth £200 million for kicking a ball up in a park. Don't get me wrong, I love football, but how's it got to this state? How have we started paying this much money for a player to play for a team? It just seems bizarre. I don't know where it's coming from. I just don't understand it. I just don't understand how it can be justified that 200 million quid can be spent on a player. And it's not just that. There's players like Mbappe who are going for 150 million. And we're going to talk about that brief. And we're going to brief that down, talk about it a bit more in a moment. Before we get right into the video, I urge you all to like and subscribe. It is greatly appreciated. But anyway, aye, the transfer fees in football, 2017 is the year we will remember as it is finally. It's just hot rock. Well, you could say it started a long time ago if you want, but for me this is it. This is finally it. We have hot rock bottom now. There's no going back. The transfer market is broke. It has been absolutely buggered by one man, and that one man is Neymar. And it just doesn't seem like we're going to go back. I thought last year, when Manchester United signed Paul Pogba for £89 million, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. No way was he worth £89 million. But £200 million is absolutely ripping it. 89 was bad enough. I just never thought I'd see the day where it would get to 200 million. Everybody was talking about when's the first £100 million player going to come around. When are we going to see the first £100 million player? We didn't have to wait for 100 million. Instead, we just jumped right to 200 million. We went right there. We didn't even bother with the first £100 million player. We went to the first £200 million player. And I hope in my lifetime it's the only time we're going to see it. But inflation is just going to get worse and worse and worse as we've seen it get in the past few years. But for me, this is the tip of the iceberg. And it's just got ridiculous. And it's harming football in just so many ways in my eyes. It's not helping teams like me. I support Celtic. And it's not helping a team like Celtic whatsoever. It's absolutely ridiculous. And now it's leaving scouting systems racking their brains, looking for every Tom, Dick and Harry, the obscurest of the obscure. Now teams like Celtic have to look for. If we want to go for anybody slightly reputable, slightly maybe above the standard of the Scottish Premiership, we're going to have to spend an absolute fortune in Celtic's eyes now. And that's what makes it difficult for us, because fans cry out for like centre-halves, somebody experienced to the Champions League. But now we're in a state where if we go to Ajax and want a player, they're going to say, I give 30 million quid. There is no way in hell a team like Celtic can give out 30 million quid for a player. It's all red and it's all rosy down in England. It's all nice down there, because they get 170 million quid a year for being on the telly once or twice per season. Teams like Stoke, teams like West Brom, who you barely ever see, yet they're still getting dramatic amounts of money, and players are opting to go there to get ridiculous amounts of wages. It's unbelievable. And I just don't know how it's got to this state. I just don't understand how we've managed to go here. Inflation is getting worse and worse. I thought to myself, when Ronaldo went to Man United, I was 9, 10 years old. And 80 million, that looks like a fucking bargain now. Cristiano Ronaldo is 5 times the player that Neymar is. Without a shadow of a doubt. I don't care how much you love Neymar. I don't care if you're a PSG fan, a Barcelona fan. Ronaldo is so much better than Neymar. Worlds apart. Ronaldo and Messi, those two players are worth so much more than Neymar. On the pitch value, whatever. They're just so much better. They two are worlds apart, and they're the two greatest players of all time. So what does that... how does it justify Ronaldo being worth 80 million and Neymar being worth 200 million? That's how bad inflation has got. Because if you go back and put the inflation to the current rate it is now, back in 2010, Ronaldo must surely be worth, what, 500? 1 billion? Why, 500 million? A billion or something? Because I seen an article the other day, and it was saying if Giggs was still playing, and Giggs was at his peak, he'd be worth £2 billion. It's hard to disagree with. Once again, a player who is so much better than Neymar. Giggs was unbelievable. Ryan Giggs, a far better player than Neymar. I don't care. You can give me, if you don't like Man United, whatever, fine. But Ryan Giggs was unbelievable. So much better player than Neymar. And you've got to, it leaves you wondering, what happens with those sorts of players? How much would they have been worth in the current market, in the current financial climate of football? How much money would they have been worth? And it's just so much is leading up to this. And they're really, what do you blame it on? What is the core? Because I don't think you can blame it on a team like Man United spending 89 million on Pogba. I think it really came down to the point where this TV money and big bit, and I don't see how a state can be allowed to own a football team and run it the way they are. Qatar, the state, basically own PSG, and they're just spending mega bucks, and it leaves you thinking as well, where's financial fair play? And they're going around all these they're bringing players in on loan instead and signing them next season, like Mbappe, trying to work their way around it. But surely to Christ, there should be some sort of tweaking of the rules to stop this. Because it's leaving teams in France behind, it's leaving teams in Europe behind, because they just can't compete with that. Celtic are a top team, reputation-wise. One of the bigger teams in Europe, reputation, hands down. I'm not just saying as a fan, it's the same with Rangers. Rangers fans, Celtic and Rangers, reputation-wise, are massive. But just because we aren't on Sky Sports as much as a team like West Bromwich Albion, we're never going to be able to compete. And it's leaving us, and we're never going to get the chance to go and challenge for a Champions League title ever again. Because these teams like PSG are owned by a state that can fork out as much money as you like and work their way around financial fair play in just an unfair manner. It just boggles my mind. The other thing is, it's getting out of hand. Youngsters are getting priced so highly for having 6 months, 1 year of good football. Mbappe, this time last year, I didn't know him. Never heard of him. You said Kylian Mbappe, I might have said, oh, I've seen him in FIFA, I've seen him in Football Manager. Never heard of him. And after one decent season, I'm not even going to say great, one decent season with a couple of great performances, that somehow warrants a £150 million price tag. When there's players who have been working their arse off for 10 years, giving stellar performances. Stellar probably wasn't the best word to use, but you know what I mean, like above average. They've been really good for 10 years. Anyway, back to Ryan. Week in, week out, that can't be worth 50 million. I get it, he's 18, he's probably going to have a bright future, but I don't know what's worse, the fact that they are paying the 150 million and think he's worth it, or the fact they're risking it to the fact he could be shite. What happens now for PSG? And I'll laugh if it happens, I'll feel sorry for Kylian Mbappe, but what if he goes to PSG now and he just is shit? He's just shit. That's 150 million quid down the drain. It probably won't harm them too much because they're owned by, once again, a state. Or whatever. I'm not too sure like who owns what and the rest of it, but I'm just going to... Basically, the country of Qatar own them. And it's just ridiculous. It's just got out of hand and I don't understand. It's ruining football for me. It is just ruining football. It's just my opinion. You might like this high spend and I don't see how you can. But I just don't... I can't wrap my head around... This is what I was saying. I was going to come on to it. But players like Marcus Rashford... They're going to have price tag. If Marcus Rashford, Man United must, if Real Madrid say wanted Marcus Rashford, they're surely going to price him around 100 to 150 million pounds now. I just can't understand that after having a year or two of good football. Cristiano Ronaldo played at Man United for what, six years, and he was only worth 80 million pound. So how is Kylian Mbappe after one good year at Monaco worth 150? And I get it's inflation. And that is and 150 million pounds now is probably equal to 80 million pounds 6 years ago. But it's this inflation rate, it's just got completely out of hand. And it's hard to put a finger on where it's exactly started. Is it the big businesses and the big billionaire owners that have started it? Is it Sky Sports' influence on the game? Where is the exact starting point? It's hard to put a finger on. But it has completely overtake the game of football, and football is no longer a sport to a lot of teams. It is a corporate way of just making as much money as they possibly can and attracting fans who know nothing about the club's history and becoming a tourist attraction. That's what it's becoming with these signings. Oh, £200 million, they must be good, I'll start supporting them. That is what it's becoming. And teams like Celtic, who 50 years ago were one of the biggest teams in Europe, teams from probably countries like Czech Republic and Scala in Europe, Holland, Ajax, Feyenoord, all massive teams in the past, are now getting left behind to big teams like PSG just because a multi-billionaire owner has decided, I know nothing about them, but I want to get in some more money in my pocket. It's out of hand. I like the fact that at least the owners of, say, Celtic and a few other teams down in England, They know what Celtic is and they know what it's about. They are homegrown owners. And these Arabs, that's not in a racist way, I'm not saying these Arabs, but the Arabs and such who are buying teams like Man City, PSG, they know nothing about football. They know nothing about these clubs' histories. It is purely a financial benefit for them. And another question is it all going to backfire on them? What's going to happen? What if one thing tipples and it all backfires in their face? What's going to happen after that? What's going to happen to the state of football? And how are prices going to go in the next few years? It's only going to get worse. Players who are winning... Johnny Evans, for example. Somebody who I would have said this time last year, I would say at Celtic, wherever to get Johnny Evans, I'd expect him to be worth about 7 million. And apparently he's worth £35 million to the eyes of Man City and Leicester. How's that came about? How is Johnny Evans worth £35 million? It just boggles my mind. I just really wanted to give my opinion on the matter. Money in football for me has just got to an extent where it's unbelievable. And I might be rambling a lot of shite, but voice my opinion, I suppose. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure to hit like and subscribe. I want to hear your opinions in the comments below. 11 minutes, I didn't think it was that long. Oof. Got it off my chest. Just wanted to give my thoughts. Let me know what you think. But thank you all for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, I'll see you later.